I'm just gonna keep going. There were no mirrors in my Nana's house, no mirrors in my Nana's house. Now I'm just gonna look at you all. Good morning, everyone. My internet may be wonky because I only see a few pictures and they're going up slowly, but I see Mary and Jay. I see Mary. I see Sherry. I see Ellen. I see Beth and Carl and Carolyn. I see Nancy. I see Ginny. Good morning, everyone. I see Carol. I see Nicole. Hi, Techie. Thank you for saying hello. I see Scott. I see Terry. I see Jill. Thanks for waving, Jill. I see Rena outside walking. I see Reach. I see Dave. Good morning, everyone. So every time we played There Were No Mirrors in My Nanas, this is what I did because it's one of my most favorite songs in the world from Sweet Honey in the Rock. And in my mind's eye, ever since I first heard that song years ago, I've created this picture of what Nana's house looks like, right? It's warm, it's inviting, there's cookies in the oven, it's candles on the table, the smells of home and love and family are in the air. This song for me evokes that feeling when we get when someone special looks at us like we're magic. You know that feeling? When someone looks at you like you're magic? Like we are joy embodied, like the light, the sun has come into the room. Just love, just beauty, acceptance, and hope. So much is conveyed through our eyes, through our faces, through our bodies when we emit that kind of love. And I've thought a lot about this over the years as a chaplain and as a minister. And as you know, this past week was Veterans Day, and thank you to everyone who wished me a happy Veterans Day. It was an honor and privilege to serve. And I've shared with you over the years my experience as a military chaplain. I was ordained in 2003 and immediately joined the military as a chaplain. I like to say that chaplains are the embodiment and the reminder of the sacred in the midst of a hard, heartbreaking, and chaotic time. Chaplains are there with service members and their families at the worst times of their lives, from death and illness to despair and hopelessness. And oftentimes, there's not much we can really do. There's no quick or easy fix to immediately improve someone's state of brokenness. The chaplains can offer one key thing, one transformative and life saving gift, and it comes with just our presence. I remember years ago receiving a call in the middle of the night, which is not unusual for chaplains. A senior officer had been arrested for a relatively serious crime, a momentary lapse in judgment that would forever change the course of their career. In short, their career was most likely over in their mind. Done. Done after decades of service because of one monumentally stupid choice. So, once released after an overnight stay in jail, this officer went home and attempted to end their life. The shame was that great. The despair was that significant. They saw no other way through. Thankfully, a family member intervened and the officer was rushed to the hospital, and once stabilized, they were placed in a psychiatric ward to help keep them safe. When the command heard what happened, the officer refused to speak to anyone except the chaplain, their chaplain. So I got the call. I packed up in the middle of the night and headed to the hospital a few hours away. When I arrived, I was placed in a waiting room and the officer was brought out. Broken and hurting and despondent, all I could do, all I could think to do was extend my hands and just look into their eyes. And we sat that way for some time together. just quiet. And then the words came. The story came. The pain began to evaporate with each layer exposed and spoken. It was a long night, and they shared deeply in a way that I felt like they really hadn't ever before. Now, thankfully, this story actually has a pretty good ending. Unbeknownst to this officer, there is grace. There is a greater grace possible beyond our wildest imaginations at times, which, of course, is the definition of grace. The command believed in this officer so much, so fiercely, that they were given a path towards reconciliation and healing. The officer's career did not end in a fiery tumult of disgrace. They went on to serve for years to come, forever changed by that one extension of grace. And what I think, looking back, was so key for this officer is that the command believed in them so much, cared for them, that they sent the chaplain. They gave the officer a chance to grow and arise to their potential. Just like Nana's house. The beauty of everything was in her eyes. Sometimes we can only glimpse of who we truly are through the love and the acceptance of other people. This is a sacred gift to be seen, not just in physical looking. It's not a looking thing. I'm talking about a deeper seeing, to the seeing of our being that is beyond our understanding, connects us with something greater than ourselves. That is the gift that Amma has brought to the world. At our time of centering today, we received a blessing for Diwali from Amma. Does anyone know of Amma? I'm going to scroll through and see if anyone shakes their head. Does anyone know of Amma? I see a few folks saying yes. She's also known as the hugging saint and the universal mother of all. Millions of people around the world go see Amma and receive her divine embrace, her hugs. She embraces all. Her followers describe her as this: Amma is able to make such a personal sacrifice because in her arms people feel safe, feel connected, loved, feel that finally they've found someone who knows them through and through. And with that feeling, they get the strength to move forward in life. And this, Amma feels, is infinitely more important than her physical needs. Be they young or old, sick or healthy, rich or poor, everyone receives the same unconditional love from Amma. Amma turns no one away. The atheist has just as much a place with Amma as the devotee. So in full disclosure, I've taken my children to see Amma on 3 separate occasions when she comes to Virginia every July. And we each have been embraced by her and soaked up her blessings. Now, at this point, y'all may be wondering, where the heck am I going with this? I got you. Hear me out. So the Sweet Honey in the Rock song reminds us of unconditional love. My story about the officer's dip into despair and recovery reminds us of unconditional acceptance and grace. And Amma, the universal mother of all, her light, her ministry, her divine embrace, reminds us that when love is embodied in a person, more love is possible in the world. We gain the strength to persevere, to endure, to love again and love bigger and bolder. And all of this brings me to Kamala Harris. 244 years, 4 months, and 2 days after the United States became a country, we will be announcing our first ever female vice president, the first ever Black vice president, the first ever South Asian vice president. She said to us, I may be the first, but I will not be the last. I get goosebumps just saying that. I'm going to say it again. I may be the first, but I will not be the last. I thought a lot about that statement. Somebody planted the seeds in her. Somebody planted the seed in Kamala to make this day possible. Lots of somebodies with unconditional love, with acceptance, with grace and divine acceptance that beheld Kamala and knew what is possible by opening doors, by encouraging her, believing in her, by loving her as she is, by giving her strength to endure. I may be the first, but I will not be the last. That is a statement of faith that reminds us that when we shine our light, when we live out our highest ideals, we give others permission to do so as well. This is a statement of faith and a statement of responsibility to live authentically and to loosen the fetters of doubt and resentment in order to build towards the good. It feeds the good. I've come to this time to think of this time of political division as a choice. A choice. We can choose to feed the good and starve the bad, feed the good and starve the bad, or we can choose to sink to others' level and meet them with equal ire and degradation. But that's not us. That's not who we are. That's not how we are. That's not how we transform the world. When we feed the good by starving the bad and not giving it space in our hearts and our spirits, we plant seeds of generosity and care, for it is in our unity, our compassion, and our greatest hope that we change hearts and minds. And many of us aren't ready to engage in dialogue, and that's okay. Feed the good. Work towards justice regardless. That way, we may be the first, but we will not be the last in our work, in our service, in our ministry to a bruised and hurting world. So I'll close with this humble reminder from my colleague, Reverend Julia Hamilton. And Reverend Julia wrote this after the election. It is not easy, this road to justice. But then again, easy is not what we were promised. In fact, we were promised nothing. We are the ones who have made promises, a covenant with one another that we will not give us, that we will be here as long as it takes. It is a commitment that we do not take lightly. And every time we have the chance to side with love, I had to put on my side with love stole. Every time we have the chance to side with love, every time we show up and make good on that covenant, we move closer to the beloved community that we are building together. So for our closing hymn is the rallying call of our time to lift every voice and sing, written in 1919 and adopted as the Black national anthem. Lift every voice and sing is a hymn that conveys our collective longing for liberation, of Black pride and unity, and for what we know, what we claim that this country is capable of. Amen. Blessed be. And may your lives preach louder than your lips. Let us sing, lift every voice and sing together.